Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, TNA Genesis preview. Genesis happening tomorrow night, Sunday night. This is the 13th Genesis pay-per-view, the first since 2021. So we are going to go down the card with the news that broke this week at WWE and TNA having a relationship. I thought it happened last year. I know there's been a lot of TNA guys on NXT and vice versa. So I thought the relationship started last year. So I know from a previous interview, the owner of Rev Pro talked about working with WWE last year, and he had said that when they sign these deals, the contract says at the end of the time, so it's a 2-year deal, I think it said, WWE has the right to buy the company. The company does not have the right to refuse them. So basically, the way the owner of Rev Pro laid it out is after the deal is up, so 2 years, WWE has the right to buy a company, and that company can't deny it. They'd have to either agree to sell or that's it. There's no other option. Either WWE wants to buy it or they don't. So I don't know if the TNA is the same deal or not. That's what the Rev Pro guy said. I don't know if it's a good deal for TNA. I just don't know. I think, honestly, personally, I think it's a bad deal. But we'll see what happens. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping that it's all about more talent and getting the Jordynne Graces of the world, the Masha Slamovich, the Joe Hendry, those kind of guys over to WWE and getting that kind of top-end talent and then basically just scrapping TNA and let them go recover like Progress Wrestling did. But hey, who knows? Time will tell. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty of Genesis. First match. Pre-show match. Frankie Kazarian taking on Leon Slater. These two had a previous match in 2023. They had two of them. Frankie Kazarian won them both. I think with the upcoming of Leon Slater, the kind of the king, Frankie Kazarian is trying to be more like an Elvis character. I think you want the show to start off with that face winning, and so I have Leon Slater winning there. Next up, we have the TNA X title on the line. We had champion Moose taking on former champion Ace Austin, who, because of the injury to Chris Bay, is the singles wrestler. Ace Austin, 3-time X Division champion, 271 days. Ironically, AJ Styles is a 6-time champion, 272 days. Could we have AJ come in and cost Ace Austin this match? Possibly. Now to continue that, Chris Sabin's 10-time champion, 635 days. He's the greatest X Division champion of all time. Moose has now had 82 days. 7 of the last 12 X Division champions have held the title less than what Moose has had it. So in that, since 2002, there's been 54 wrestlers hold the X title, 109 reigns. Now, one thing a lot of people thought, and I thought the same thing when Moose won the X title, there's this little thing called Option C. When Hulk Hogan was running TNA, he created this. So what that means is whoever holds the X title can literally cash the X title in for a World Heavyweight title shot. So it's Option C. So it's kind of like a cash-in kind of deal. I think they have to do it in advance, if I remember correctly. So everyone thinks Moose is going to do that. I do as well. But I could see AJ coming in and costing Ace Austin, and then somewhere over the next few months having an Ace Austin AJ Styles match, since AJ and Austin are so close in the number of days holding the X title. And he's kind of the grandfather of the X division. But I have Moose retaining the title here and eventually cashing in as Option C. Next up, we have Josh Alexander versus Mike Santana in an I Quit match. Two guys whose careers have gone 2 different paths. You had Josh Alexander, the longest reigning World Heavyweight Champion in TNA history. You had Mike Santana, part of a tag team called LAX. LAX left. Mike Santana has some personal demons he's been fighting. He's talked about this in some of the interviews, and he's trying to make a name for himself. He's been wrestling a lot on the Indies and other places, along with TNA. Josh Alexander, when he got hurt, he relinquished the title. Since then, he's been on a mission to get the title back, kind of had a little heel turn. Like Santana's kind of been that big baby face. Now these two, Santana beat Alexander in House of Glory in January 2024. Their feud goes way back to the days of the North with Josh Alexander and Ethan Page, and then LAX with Santana and Ortiz. They had 5 matches. LAX won 4. They've of their matches, 7 matches. Excuse me. LAX is 4-3 in tag matches. Now there is also talk of Josh Alexander leaving and going to WWE, so I could see Mike Santana getting the victory here, and Josh Alexander be like, I quit, and walk out and end up in the Royal Rumble kind of deal. Speaking of that, next up we have Jordynne Grace versus Tessa Blanchard. Jordynne Grace's contract is up after the show. Literally, January 19th is when her contract expires. She had 8 matches with NXT WWE in 2024, including at the Royal Rumble last year. There's been a lot of talk of her going to WWE, which is great. Good for her. Seeing her on the Indies, seeing her at the first All In, which basically created AEW, and seeing her get to WWE, that's absolutely amazing. Tessa Blanchard, her career has been kind of on the downswing, as Jordynne's been on the upswing. Tessa was World Heavyweight Champion TNA. COVID happened. She was stuck in Mexico, couldn't make shows, ended up getting fired. Now, the relationship with WWE and TNA, I think, is for the Jordynne Graces of the world, getting her to WWE, eventually Joe Hendry, eventually possibly Masha Slamovich. People like Tessa Blanchard, I don't think we'll ever see part of that. Maybe Josh Alexander, I bet we don't see Mike Santana. Some of the people that left WWE, like Nic Nemeth, those kind of people, I don't think we see them as part of that crossover. But with this whole thing with Tessa and Jordynne, I think building Tessa back up into the Knockouts division, having Tessa beat Jordynne as Jordynne exits, I think is where this goes. I don't think it does anything for Jordynne for her to beat Tessa and then leave. I think that hurts Tessa more than it helps. So I got Tessa Blanchard winning this. We have the TNA Knockout tag titles on the line. Champion Spitfire, Jody Threat, and Daniel Luna versus Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance with their personal Concierge, whatever his name is. Yeah, I think they're building this up with Ash and Heather. The fact they had the cardboard cutouts with the titles on Impact, which was freaking awesome. But I think they're going to go ahead and move off of Spitfire. They've had the titles 127 days, the 9th longest ever. The titles returned in 2021. It's the 6th longest since then. Spitfire once before had the titles for 56 days. I think where these tag titles, they don't need to be there. I'm sorry, they don't. They're not really doing anything. I don't feel. I think they need more of like a women's TV title or a women's mid-card title. But I have Ash and Heather Elegance winning the titles here. Next up, we have the TNA Knockout World Title on the line in a Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. A match that was preceded by Raven. Wow, I can't think of it. Rosemary's always been that kind of hardcore diva or knockout, or whatever you want to call her. She's going against Masha Slamovich, the current knockout champion. Matter of fact, 81 days is knockout champion. Here's the thing about Masha Slamovich. We did see her on NXT this week, which was kind of cool. Seeing Masha Slamovich wrestle in Prestige Wrestling and GCW, currently the JCW champion. Seen her in TNA and then seeing her on NXT, it's like, ooh, that's kind of weird. Seeing her all over the indies and show up on NXT. I think she's one that WWE is interested in. I think she's somebody that could do well in NXT, along with Jordynne Grace. She's had the title 81 days. 15 of the last 20 reigns have been longer. So seeing her, Joshi Pro Wrestling, Revolver, GCW, Prestige, is really a treat. She's one of the top wrestlers out there in the indies. She knows hardcore. She knows death matches. So poor Rosemary ain't got a shot here. I'm sorry, she doesn't. This is going to be dominated by Masha Slamovich, and I got Masha beating Rosemary here. Next up, we have a tag match. We have the System, the former tag team champions, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, along with Alisha Edwards, taking on Eric Young and Steve Maclin. The team that's kind of got put together. Two guys that have been attacked by the System, and they're kind of banding together. The enemy, my enemy is my friend kind of deal. I actually have Eric Young and Steve Maclin winning this and beating the System. And then we get to the main event. We have the TNA World Heavyweight title on the line. We have champion Nic Nemeth taking on Joe Hendry. Nic Nemeth has held the title 182 days. That's kind of the sweet spot. If you look at the last 5 title reigns, Moose had 189, Alex Shelley 218, Maclin 54, Alexander 335. Now, Joe Hendry's had 14 matches in WWE over the past in 2024. The thing is, to me, here's my thought on this crossover. We start having worlds collide, and I love people get the real Forbidden Door. How's it the real Forbidden Door? The other one was the real Forbidden Door. Whatever, people. They got a copy off AEW because AEW works with the promotions. WWE never did this before. Why now? Oh, because AEW does it. That's why. Anyway, I think you're not going to have Nic Nemeth show up on WWE television. Here's why. How many people are going to know the name Nic Nemeth? Number one. He walks out, it's going to be, oh my God, Dolph Ziggler's here. That's not his name. His name's Nic Nemeth. So I think you're going to have that kind of confusion among fans. Now I could see it on maybe a promo here or there, but as in to wrestle a lot, I think there's going to be the casual fan going, oh wait, isn't it Dolph Ziggler? Hey, I'm Nic Nemeth. Isn't it, you're Dolph Ziggler would be the chance they would have. But I think Joe Hendry, though, fans love him in NXT. He had a big pop. I could see Joe Hendry winning the TNA World Heavyweight title, showing up at the Rumble as TNA World Heavyweight Champion, just like Jordynne Grace did last year, and having more matches in WWE TNA and kind of being that crossover figure that's over in both companies. And he's mega over too. So I have Joe Hendry becoming your new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So that is the preview of what's going to come down at TNA Genesis. As always, thanks for watching the Rubber Sports Show. From the independent scene to the main event of WrestleMania. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Rubber Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content. Stay tuned to Rubber Sports Show. Probably Monday we'll have the review of GCW Hammerstein and then also TNA Genesis. As always, have a great evening.